Anyways, had to fix the tail light again because the light bulb had a bad harness, so I put a harness with a spring system on there. I mean, that light bulb was definitely okay, but that one was a problem. And then I glued it with some hot glue, solder, torch. And basically I have a converter hooked up to a trickle charge system. So if I flip it on, it will, it's a converter hooked up to like an inverter. It's like my antenna design where you have a battery hooked up to a battery. But the battery was the antenna charging the battery that was charging the moped. It was a really bad idea because the antenna would never charge the battery enough. Like the battery would always decharge. And the battery had a smaller voltage than the main battery. So when it did charge the main battery, it did just for a little while. It was a bad idea. Antennas shouldn't charge batteries. But anyways, this is actually just a capacitor system. It's a DC converter in reverse, so that the brake light. So if I'm on the road and there's traffic, because I never leave this on because this can decharge any lead acid battery. If it's not isolated, it will decharge that. It will decharge your lead acid battery within 3 weeks. For me, it took 4 months because this is 50,000 volts charging this is a 50,000 volt system basically, so it's kind of shocky, and it's charging it's basically charging it's like 2 batteries charging a battery or something. But the problem with that with a converter that's not isolated, like I was ignorant and I was like, this can charge a battery for off grid for 3 weeks, this system. But then I was like, yeah, it could charge a battery off grid for 3 weeks. True. So I was like, and this is like 2014. I got a new battery set. I tested an old one for 3 weeks. It charged all the old batteries. And I bought a converter for the tail light and headlight, and I was like, this isn't going to do anything. 4 months later, the old batteries die. So on March 2015, I had to buy a new set of batteries. I just didn't think they would die from a converter being on, because one, I thought I bought the isolated converter whereas a reed switch or something where it turns off when you turn off the circuit. Two, I was dealing with lots of power, like 50,000 volts on an electric vehicle is a lot of power, basically. So the battery will never die. But, lo and behold, then you're dealing with something that's draining the battery while it's powering the batteries. So no matter what, that will die. I would give it 3 weeks on an ERV on an EV. On an EV, this would decharge your battery in 3 weeks if it's not isolated. I just thought much of it being like a car. I was stupid then. So in March of 2015, I bought I didn't buy, but I added a switch to isolate it, because that switch that was isolating it was not isolating the brake light by accident. So the brake light was always on. And that was my mistake. That's like an amateur move. So